Assalamu alaikum. Now today we want to do a very quick tutorial on making a very simple suit for Inaya. I want to spoil her and I want to surprise her by making this for her because she wrote me this wonderful little poem. So which I will inshallah read to you later on once we give her this to try on. So what we're going to make is just a little like a short type of a crop type of trouser, which is going to be hopefully simple to make and very little time consuming at the same time. So the length that we want for her is about 29 inches. Ready? So we're just going to mark it off at 29. Basically what I've done is just folded the material over and I'm going to cut the one side and then cut the other. So for the crutch I'm going to use 8 inches and I'm just going to take about an inch in and curve it around. Curve it around here, and then at the center here of the double folded fabric, which is 11 inches and half of 11 is 5.5, and then from 5.5 I'm going to measure 5.5. I'm going to measure 1, 2, 3 inches on either side. 1, 2, 3. Making this a poncho of 6 inches. Okay, and then from this 6 inch I'm going to just take a straight line up to the mark of the 1 inch crutch. Let's get the hard ruler, which is easier to. And from this one I will just take it to round about the hip area and then just curve it back in just to give it a bit of shape, and that's all we're going to do. Just cut this very easily and straightforward. Now remember, you're only cutting the top one, so make sure to cut it individually. Even though I've double folded this, we are just cutting the one leg. Now this is just a 1.5 yard piece that I found, 1.25 yard piece that I found lying around. Okay, which we're using for this. Now we're going to just turn it around, and we've got a slight bit of excess there which we're going to use for the back of the trouser, and you can cut this according to the same width at the bottom, but as you go up towards the crutch, make sure to make it wider. You want it comfortable. Comfort is the essence, I would say. If a suit is not comfortable, even children will resort not to wear them, and then we're forever there shouting at them, I've taken so much time to make you this and you're not wearing it. And we forget that if it's not comfortable, the child's not going to feel comfortable and they're not going to want to wear it. There we are. That's a very simple trouser, which we're gonna hopefully add the little bit of the leftover lace to the bottom of this. Now this bit we're gonna use the cross grain, and we're gonna use this to line her kameez, part of her kameez, because it's a thin fabric. So Now use no measurements. Generally when you've sewn for someone for so long, you can actually take a nice guess at it, and I promise you, you'll be accurate. Doesn't take. And that's it, that's all the leftovers. And what we've got from this 1.5 yards of fabric, we've got a trouser and a lining done. Get rid of these pieces, less mess we have then. So then we'll go on to cutting the dress. Okay, so it's just a very standard, it's going to be just a very standard dress. Nothing fancy, quite nice and simple. Don't want to make it overly wide either, just about the right size. So first of all, let's get the... Now one of the problems we have is we tend to be, when we have too much material, we tend to be a little bit too generous, and we end up cutting a lot bigger than the actual size, and then it's the children look a bit daft in it because it's massive, and then we have to resort to recutting and recutting and recutting until, you know, we get fed up and the result gets spoiled. So generally when you have less fabric, you're actually restricted to just how big you're going to make it. It means that you're likely to not make it overly too big, which is actually good because that way. Okay, so we're just going to make it, cut it according to the lining from the top. See, children's clothes, they don't really have much shape to them because obviously children are not developed into the... I'm going to make this about 26-27 inch long, so take away this bottom portion, and I might just use this for the trouser. So this very simple kameez now looks like like this. We want a little bit of sleeves. I think we've got. I'm going to add a little bit of a V piece in the sleeve just to give it a little bit more width, because again, I don't want to make it uncomfortable for her. So just to, and it's not itchy, but even though it's not itchy, I might just use a very thin chiffon type of a fabric just to line this, so that she has no complaints of itching, which again is a common problem with children, where they have constant complaints of something being knot. And I'll use this to line the bottom of the trouser, just to give it a nice finish. And despite having just a small piece of fabric, we've still got this left over, and I think I have got this grey colour net where I would like to combine this and make this into a bodice on a frock for Sarah, who I have not sewn for yet and who I have not introduced to you. So inshallah, what we'll be doing is introducing you to Sarah with this, hopefully with this little piece of fabric when I found the grey to match this, and make her a beautiful little frock. So then we can have sisters the same.